Stanko Jones' first date. We got a friend in the studio right now. We got voice of the Bobcats, Shane Tomeyer here. He was looking ponderingly out the window a second there. I think he's considering the future of the Bobcats today. How you doing today, bud?
It is not do or die, but it's do or be on life support.
Absolutely. So we got to talk about what happened last night. They came back to the home barn. It proved a little bit tougher than I think the Cats were hoping. Can you tell me a little bit about what they might be working on in training today from your perspective?
Well, probably a lighter morning skate. I think there's honestly not a great deal strategically, I think, that needs to change. It's a matter of trying to work on gaps and slowing down the speed of the Bonneville Pontiacs. If that means you're getting to a body faster, just taking away a little bit of space, that might be the key. Special teams was better last night, as we talked about on Monday morning. They capitalized on their one power play chance. Had a power play goal against that was on a 5-on-3. Were more disciplined. The referees last night certainly let both sides play a fair bit. It was pretty wide open. A little bit of old school style of hockey. Just things didn't go their way.
Yeah, and we also while I was looking at the wrap up of it yesterday, I noticed in the second there were 3 unanswered goals for Bonneville. They kind of dominated the second period. What do you think sort of happened there, and what do you think the lessons are going to be taken away from that one?
I think it comes down to the Bonneville Pontiacs play a very high-tempo game. And the Cats came out. They struck twice. Ben Bygrove, one of the Bobcats' best rookies this season, scores twice to get things kind of rolling, and then Bonneville answered. I guess it's easy.
Like I'll say that, like the first period, like if you look at it, Lloyd was totally dominant. Like they ran the show for the first 20, and then just kind of caught up to them on the second there. That high tempo game.
Yeah, it's just the Bonneville Pontiacs. They come in, they'll shoot from everywhere and anywhere. They're quick to lose pucks. Matthew Severson, I mean, you look at the score, you see 7-4, and you go, is goaltending going to change? No, because Matthew Severson still made 46 saves last night. He had a
dude stayed on his head the whole night, right?
Had a great game, and let's in 7, unfortunately, one of which, I think one is a goal that he's going to look at it and beat himself up maybe, and hopefully not too much. Another one that, by all definition, a squeaker, and certainly had at least the Bobcats questioning whether or not it had actually gone in. So I mean that, and right there, that now is a 5-4 hockey game. So continue to do some of the stuff they're doing last night in terms of getting pucks to the net themselves. Obviously, better offensive output that way for them last night over Game 2 in Bonneville. And capitalizing on some chances.
Now, the other thing we talked about, you mentioned the first thing was getting the special teams kind of in tune, but the second thing we talked about was kind of keeping our guys out of the box a little bit. I noticed, especially in the third, we saw a couple of penalties. We saw Javen go in the box twice on that one, Javen Leslie. Do you think this sometimes it was just a little bit of just a bit of a mix-up on the play, or is there a little bit of cool into the aggression that needs to be done? Like, there was a little bit of frustration there.
I don't think it was a frustration thing. I think sometimes just it's when you're playing against a team like that, you're going to have to battle, and that line gets blurry a little bit sometimes when the referees allow the game to be played, and then something gets called where you go, okay, well that wasn't a penalty 40 minutes ago,
right?
And I mean that's every game of hockey everywhere, and you can't fault the officials. You always put yourself in whatever position you're in, really,
right? And
I certainly I don't fault Lesto for the third period, trying to set a tone and create a bit of a spark for his guys. You look into the second period, couple of penalties there. The one, Matthew Swanson takes a hooking call, but it's one that you're going to define as a good penalty.
Right.
You've got an elite goal scorer coming across the front of the net. Your goalie's made the first save. He's sprawled out. If Swanson doesn't hook the guy, the puck's over top of Severson's pad. It's in the back of the net.
Exactly. It's almost like you take the penalty for the team at that point, right?
Absolutely.
All right. So you saw, especially in the third as well, too, that fire, that recovery come back quite a bit. How are they going to harness that energy going into tonight's game?
I think you look to build off some momentum that you had. 4 goals, 2 for a coin, 2 for Brock Krulicki, who, if you haven't been to the Civic Center this season to watch a hockey game, Brock Krulicki is the kind of guy that you pay attendance to go and watch just to see what he's going to do.
Yeah, he's a dynamic guy kind of on there.
Incredibly creative, has some of the most ridiculous hands that we've seen in a very long time, and we've seen a number of times this season where the Bobcats are in a tough spot, and you get the puck on Krulike's stick, and he's going to make something happen. Twice last night, he put the puck on his own stick with a takeaway or a breakdown of a pass, and scored twice unassisted. Just great individual efforts and doing what Brock Krulike does.
All right, and we mentioned off the hop here that we're going to be in a position where it's getting a little bit tougher. The games are going to be more dynamic than any more perhaps this series already, especially as the Bobcats try to tie it up once again. Are we expecting a bigger attendance than I believe 1,000 people showed up last night, or just shy?
Just shy of 1,000 last night. I would expect that or better this evening, and that would be fantastic. It's Bonnyville bringing their own fans, and they're loud. And there's a guy with one of those horn things, the vuvuzela type of thing.
Oh my God!
And it's obnoxious, frankly. So it'd be great to have the Bobcats fans in attendance to silence them. And do you want to break some news?
Let's break some news.
A bit of a lineup shuffle tonight.
Okay.
Bobcats have been without one very key player since February 17th.
Okay. And
the captain, Ben Bygrove, back in the lineup.
Bygrove's back tonight. That's going to be a really good one. That's going to change probably the whole dynamic on the ice tonight.
Absolutely. I assume that's going to leave us with 7D and 11 forwards. Even if, Ben's not 100%. There's no question about that. But if you can get 8 or 10 minutes out of him and his presence in the room and on the bench, that's going to make a difference. And he's at 60%. If that's the number,
and even having the Cap back on the ice is just going to be absolutely huge in terms of team morale, right?
Yeah. So if you don't want to come watch Brock Krulike, come for the return of Ben Bygrove and his final lap around the Alberta Junior Hockey League, as playoffs come to an end, as does his career. So it'll be great to see him back out there. That'll give a spark certainly for the guys. Last night he's at the game. He's still in a walking boot. Tonight he's at the game in a skate.
And he's got his skates on. Like that's true old-fashioned hockey grit. You really got to respect that.
I've said 100 times on the broadcast through the season, and every time I talk to Ben on air or off air, that is a guy who's 20 going on 45, mature beyond his years, plays like it's 1988. He's a bunch of fun to watch and a great leader for the room, and he'll have an impact for sure.
All right, sounds good. It's going to be one hell of a game tonight. Before I let you get back to it, Shane, where do people get tickets?
Bobcats office, of course. You can take your chances at the door, of course. Tate's Cold Beer and Liquor has tickets as well. Rob had to put in a call to Nigel yesterday because he ran out, so Nigel was running tickets down to Tate's at around 4:00 in the afternoon to make sure that he had more for people for last night and tonight. So get them while you can.
You got to get them. They are hot tonight. Go Bobcats, hoping for the best, and really excited to see Captain Ben Bygrove back on the ice.
Can I ask you a question, not hockey related?
What do you got?
The mullet.
The mullet thing. The Mullet Madness.
The Mullet Madness. I'm obviously not going to be a contestant in that.
You're right down to the brass here, man.
I went down with the Buzz the Bobcats, and it hasn't come back, and I'm not bringing it back, I don't think.
It's a good look.
I'm curious, and this is a bit of a jerk move on my part.
Okay.
But I'm gonna ask you a question. How many calendars would have to sell for you to be Mr. December? Because you've got some loaf, you've got some flow. I got
some flow, but like I got the Gretzky flow. To get me to go to the Lemieux flow, you
got years invested. I realize.
Yeah,
that could become something.
Tell you what,
think on
if
that.
we can get close to selling them out, then we'll number. I think the number's going to be closer to about 400, 500 if we can make it happen.
I see Dan Soul, Costanza style couch picture. Flowing mullet.
See, you're the second person who's brought up the Costanza couch. The man, the myth, the legend, Donnie Atkinson also brought it up.
We think a lot alike.
Oh my God, it's a one-track mind around here. It really is. Anyways, more back to the point. Bobcats going in to tie it up tonight. Captain Ben back. Going to be an absolutely excellent game. Get your tickets in advance. Bobcats office or at Tate's Liquor, or take your chances at the rink. But best of luck to you. It's Hardy, Jack, 106.1 The Go.